200 million years in the future. In this part of the world, when it rains, it really rains, and creates a massive rainforest stretching for thousands of kilometers. Everything that lives here has to put up with the downpour. Even having to roost in the torrential rain. It rains most of the time here, and that's because 200 million years in the future, the world is very different. All the continents have fused to form one enormous supercontinent, and the northwest coast faces into the prevailing westerly winds, which bring perpetual rain and storms. The rain creates ideal conditions for anything to grow. Below the canopy, an alien-looking world of lichen trees. Lichens that were once tiny, growing over rocks and logs, now reach up to 3 meters high. And living among these lichen trees, tiny, flying creatures. These are forest flish, only 10 centimeters or so long.
First sight, they look like butterflies. As you look more closely, bizarrely, they turn out to be fish, but fish unlike any we see today. They're fish which have ceased living in the water, live entirely on land, or even more, live in the air.
Today, fish occasionally leave the water, but they're not known as great flyers.
With a few exceptions, modern fish don't fly. But a lot of fish flap their wings and fly in water. There are fish which looks very bird-like when they move around, say, coral reefs. Once you've learnt to move your forelimb, and once you've developed the musculature around the base of the fin, which means you can generate a lot of force with that, then getting into the air with it is very easy. You can imagine the animal might jump out of the water to escape a predator.
That's exactly what flying fish are doing as they skim over the waves. "200 million years later, the forest flish has evolved powered flight and has left the ocean altogether. Its pectoral fins have become wings that beat 30 times a second, making them fast and maneuverable. And because they no longer have to swim, their pelvic fins have evolved into hooks, so they can hang upside down when they roost. At the end of the day, the last of the forest flish come back to the roost. They spend the night huddled together, clinging under a branch. But any stragglers still out in the forest in the failing light are heading for trouble. Something is waiting for them. This is a slither sucker, and it lies in wait for forest flesh.
The slither sucker is one of the more wonderful envisionments for the future.
But its ancestors were very lowly organisms.
These organisms are all around in the present day. If you know where to look for them, you will see them, particularly on moist days, moving very slowly, but moving across the forest floor. A common name for one of these, at least in North America, is dog's dinner, because they look like the dog just lost its dinner on the surface of the forest floor.
It's also known as a slime mold. A primitive collection of single-celled creatures that move together as one, able to change shape and creep along the ground.